I'm ready to go. I got the go. I'm gonna tell you all about it. Watch me now. I'm ready to go. Look out below.
What's funny, Craig, is that this song
All about it. Watch me now.
chosen for momentum builder.
Is this a momentum builder written song?
No, it was chosen for momentum builder the virtual year that we
I
did.
remember.
Yeah, so Ignite Media chose that as our intro, and it just stuck. So now it's been a
Yeah.
few years, and it's just, it just works. And so I
Yeah, it
keep thinking
works.
about it, like, do we go away from it? And it's like, no, but it's
Yeah.
kind of our anthem. So
I love
what do we
it.
do?
Yeah.
Hey, look, you just got a Hey Craigery.
What's that, Sasha? I've been called a lot worse.
I'm telling you, that nickname stuck. You're Craigery forever.
Yeah, that works. Again, I've been called a lot worse. I'll take that one.
Yeah, not the worst thing to be called.
Right. What's up, Martin?
A lot of our friends.
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
Timmy.
Bring back memories. What's up, Jason? Good to see you, buddy. You know, I'm gonna get you introduced to Jason.
Okay. Yeah, the last couple of days, been traveling and going down to San Diego to the Total Expert Accelerate conference, which was wonderful, and then to the CMBA. Just a really good opportunity to spend time with people. It's been great.
I love the innovation oriented, theme to these right now. It's critical.
Yeah, everybody's leaning that way, but well, it comes down to cost again. The costs are still out of control, so the only way we're going to fix it is by utilizing technology.
Yeah,
totally believe in that, and that was the theme of a lot of conversation over the last couple of days.
It's not what we know, it's what we do.
Maybe. All right, well, we're going to get started here probably in about 1 minute, because I want to respect everybody's time. Nice to see a bunch of our friends here still trickling in. What's up, Brian? How's me up there?
What's up, Jimmy?
All right, let's rock and roll, Craig.
Man.
Cool. Well, welcome to more Momentum webinar series. Don can't be with us today, but Craig and I will do the best we can to make sure that we have a really great experience. I know Craig and I have been talking about this for a few weeks and trying to make sure that he delivers the message he wants to deliver. And for those of you that don't know, Craig and I worked together for the last 5 or 6 years at Finance of America, and he was our coach. So when Don and I went to Finance of America, we were going through difficult times like we're going through right now. For those that remember, it was the winter of 2018, and there was a lot of those Game of Thrones jokes because it was like, when the winter comes, what's going to happen? And I think we forget really easily that this industry goes through challenges many times, right? It's cyclical. So there's different challenges every time, but we remember the most traumatic one, which was 2008, and we have this post-traumatic stress syndrome that happens because of that. And I know that those that are overcoming that are doing great in this market. It's a difficult market, but you could still do really well in this market if you have the right mindset. So without further ado, this is Craig Davis, my friend, our coach, and now we bring him to you for the More Momentum series.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Welcome. Greetings, everybody. And you know what I love, Gino, like we were just talking offline, like when we met during the hard time, not the good times, right? And we define ourselves during the hard times, right? And this is one of those right now. So this is opportunity, right? So, all right, I'm gonna share my screen and we'll get going here. All right, everybody see this? You can see this okay? I'm just gonna assume.
There you go. Yeah. Yep, you're
okay,
clear.
cool.
Rock and roll.
All right, guys. Good. All right. So yeah, please use the chat. Give me some signals as I go if you like what I'm talking about. Love it, right? That keeps me motivated. So I'm here today to talk about mind state, maybe a little different than mindset. So You guys have all been through 100 presentations about mindset, right? Like, what is mindset, right? We got the awareness, the information, our mindfulness about what's coming in, right? And our mindset is based off our biases and our experiences and our exposure, right? And it creates our interpretations. And then the output is attitude, okay? So mind state, right? State of mind, mind state. That's just our acute response to a situation. It's our triggered response, right? Good or bad, right? But we go into a mind state. And so that's why it's important we have purpose, we have discipline, and we understand this so we know how to proceed. All right, so here's my ask of everybody. As I'm talking, if you have one of these, that right there, I want that. That is an insight. That might be an aha. Right? I want you to pay attention to that. And if you have a just write that bullet point down. Small, not big, right? But honor it. Because what's happening is you have 88 billion neurons in your brain, right? And they're all making connections. So we want to energize what could be a new connection or might enforce an existing connection that we want to, give some energy to, right? That little electricity. So as soon as you have a little insight, aha, just put it down. The magic is when we can draw that towards action. All right. All right. So let's get going. All right. So you guys know the saying, like, as the crow flies, right? As the crow flies, it takes it 20 minutes to get there. Well, is it? Or did it take you 2 hours? Right? Or are you hitting every treetop along the way? What are those trees? What are those treetops? Is that friction? Those obstacles, challenges, internal, external, right? So what would it feel like to be as the crow flies? What would it feel like to have that sort of state 5 years from now? I don't know about you. I can't think that far ahead. How about 3 months from now? And what would 3 months then create for 6 months from now and 12 months from now? So what would that feel like? All right, so I'm going to tell you a little story. So here we are, it's 2021, September 20th, it's a Sunday, I'm hanging out with my family. Hey, life's good, right? We're having a great day, we're just hanging out, doing our thing. Mortgage business is still thriving. In fact, I think we had a record month that September. Refis are still falling out of the sky. It's all good, like what could go wrong? And then Monday comes around and I find out that I have stage 3 cancer. I'm sorry, what'd you say? So as my wife and I sat in the doctor's appointment, and we receive this information, I start physically shaking, right? I'm in shock, as you can imagine, to respond to information like that. So my wife puts her hand on my chest and sort of kind of recenters me as we're receiving this information, right? We take this home with us. And then my daughter, who's then 10 years old, comes home. Of course, we can't tell her that, right? So here we are now, and we just received that. A darkness fell over me. A darkness fell over us. A cloud, right? For 2 days, I thought I was going to die. That's all I could think about for 2 days. It was all I could do to keep myself off the computer to get my affairs in order. I would look at my wife and daughter and say to myself, I can't leave you. I can't leave you for 2 days. And then, it's a normal work day. And I got a phone call from my then boss, Steve Reich, who's hopefully on the line right now. And he gave me 2 pieces of information. So he calls just like normal and says, hey, man, how you doing? I said, I got cancer. How you doing? I'm sorry, what? So by giving me those 2 pieces of information, it really changed my life. And he may not know this. But what he did is said, based on my knowledge of what you just told me and what you have, slow growing, and treatable. Okay. What he did is he just gave me hope. Hope. And that hope broke me out of the darkness. It broke me out of that cloud. Okay. Now, whether that was true or not, I don't know, but it gave me hope. And that's all I needed at that very moment. So now I could compartmentalize. It wasn't anymore that I have cancer. It was there is cancer. And then I could detach from it. And by doing that, I could now own it. Okay, this is mine. I got this. You have whatever you have, big or small, it's not a comparison, right? We all have our challenges. I'm going to get through this. You get through that. Let's do it together. And by owning it, it became cathartic. And it also allowed me to now control something that was otherwise out of my control, right? And that was critical. So then now it was time to begin. So this picture right here, I'm holding up that beer. No joke. I'm walking through the store. I see a beer called Growth, a 6-pack called Growth Mindset. I had to have it, right? Being the mindset leadership geek that I am. So I get it. By the way, the beer's delicious. I look at the date. It was 2 weeks before my cancer diagnosis. And I've never seen that beer back in the store since. Riddle me that. And then there's my first day of chemo, right? And I always had a thumbs up. No matter what, taking a picture during this time, I always had a thumbs up. So I knew I'd look back on this. So now that I owned it, I realized that now I have to endure. This was about endurance, right? I just have to get through this. I have to show up every day, embrace the suck, right? Say thank you, smile, may I have another, and just repeat every single day. And enough days will go by that I will get through this. And in reflection, what I realized was it was mindset plus medicine. Medicine got me through the cancer. Medicine is what killed the tumor, right? But it was mindset that got me through the medicine. The 195 days of chemo and radiation, the sick, the feels, the smells, the days where I would just sleep because it was easier to sleep than it was to be awake. Drinking water that tastes like burnt tinfoil, right? Days when you're just sick of being sick, when you can't see the end in sight, when there's treetops all along the way, no end in sight. It was mindset that was the hard part. Medicine was the easy part. That's just the action. Show up, plug in, literally plug in. Mindset was the hard part. But enough days did go by and I made it through treatment. My last day of treatment was last May 4th, 13 months ago. And upon further tests, thankfully, the medicine worked. It eradicated the tumor. And the third step in my treatment plan was surgery, which ended up being canceled and instead of surgery, I was able to do this. As soon as I got cleared, I put it in the rearview mirror. I got a plane ticket. I flew up to Seattle to go see my Absolute Mortgage guys and my good buddy, Jason Nutzman, who was a branch manager of mine then. We went for a hike the day before. We climbed Mount Si here in Seattle. And it was coincidental that it happened to be on the day of surgery. I was just ready to go. I just wanted to go see my friends again and be out in the field. And as we're climbing this mountain, I tell you, it kicked my ass, right? I realized that my body had been through what it had been through as I'm approaching the summit. And I was literally crawling to the top. But when I got to as I got there and I turned to Jace, I said, you know what? I just realized I'm supposed to be in surgery right now. Not a bad alternative. Okay, good. Listen, look, the threat is real, guys. The industry is brutal right now, right? There's headlines, there's politics. It doesn't matter, big or small. And I would argue it's about the small, not the big. It doesn't have to be cancer. I don't want to die, right? It's the small. Maybe you just lost your assistant. You're sick about the battle of rates, right? You're sick of losing that loan at docs or CTC or God forbid funding, right? It doesn't matter. The threat is real. The challenges are real. From a coaching perspective, that can cause friction. The way I define friction is the conflict between internal noise and external noise, right? Our internal noise, that's our biases, our emotions, our thoughts, our experiences, our feelings, right? Our mindset in conflict with external noise. Industry's brutal. I'm losing deals. I'm sick of dealing with rates. Whatever the case is. Maybe your dumbass company just shut down. That conflict can create friction. And with enough friction left unchecked, that can get you stuck. Put in the chat if you know the name of this ship right here. I'll be super impressed. I'm going to give you a high five. The name of this ship is called the Endurance. Ernest Shackleton set sail in 1914 to be the first explorer to go overland in Antarctica, and this was his ship. They ended up getting trapped on the ice floes to the point where they got stuck. And this is the story of their time on the ice floes, and I don't give anything away. I am developing leadership lessons from this because it's an amazing story, and I highly recommend everybody get this book. It's called Endurance. All right. So the threat is real, right? Friction, stuck. And without a little bit of discipline and paying attention, it can affect our mind state, how we're reacting to those situations, what's triggering us, right? And look, it can put us into an away state, a threat state, or some discipline we can go toward reward, towards solution. All right, so what's the difference? Look, we've got this thing in our brain called the limbic system, right? You guys have heard of that, right? That gives us a little douse of cortisol, right? Protect us from the saber tooth about to jump out of the bushes and kill us, fight or flight, right? It's important. Cortisol is important. But here's the problem. There ain't no more saber tooth. The saber tooth's been replaced with noise. And that noise can be chronic. It's not just jumping out of the bushes. It's always there, maybe, potentially. So our limbic system is doing its job. It's giving us that cortisol. Cortisol is fast. It's strong. It's meant to be, right? Narrows our vision, heightens our response time, right? But in a chronic pattern, narrowing our vision means now we can't see up, right? We're not thinking openly. So we want to be in a toward state. We want to consciously be toward reward, toward solution, toward reframing and finding a positive in an otherwise perceived negative, right? Because our brains are wired potentially toward a threat state, right? Now, cortisol is fast and strong, dopamine slower, but longer lasting, more rewarding, right? Dopamine, that's our happy, happy, joy, joy, right? We want that. Also very, very critical in habit construction, right? And we're not going to go too deep into habits. That's a presentation in of itself. But I'll say this. Bad habits, very difficult to deconstruct, right? Because those neural pathways are energized. It's really hard to break those. Making new habits, much easier. And dopamine creates a reward, which is a critical component to creating new habits. So we want dopamine. We want that little dopamine hit, but it's going to have to add up. It's a little slower, right? So we have to purposely be in a toward solution state. And left unchecked, if we're in that threat away state, it can create a fixed mindset, right? Now, we all live on the spectrum between fixed and growth mindset, with some purpose, and we're all predisposed, one way or the other, but we want to be toward growth. Here's a clear delineation between fixed and growth mindset. I can't. That's fixed. Now, what do you think is the most powerful word in the English language? Put it in the chat. And no, it's not love. Okay, fine, love. What's the second most powerful word in the English language? It's a trick question, obviously. I'm just seeing if anyone will get it. Yet. I can't. Yet. Fixed mindset. Growth mindset. And here's the thing. Sometimes it's hard for us to recognize that ourselves. Do it for somebody else. When you find somebody is in a fixed mindset pattern, help them. I can't do that. Yet. Yet. Right. And if you're curious about yourself, ask your neighbor, ask your spouse, ask your friend. Right. And again, left unchecked, threat state, fixed mindset, that can put us into a victim mode. And we don't want to be there. We want to be toward solution, toward reward, toward growth mindset, so we can own it. We want to be in an owner mindset. And the reason why this is so important is because of this guy, this fucking monkey, right? He's jumping around in your brain, and he's going to go to where the threat is strongest or the opportunity. But that monkey is in there, and he's jumping around. He's telling you stories, right? Creating these automatic negative thoughts. Here's the thing. Your brain is lying to you. It ain't true. Your brain is making up stories because of this fucking monkey. He's jumping around and it's making up stories, right? Are they real? Why are we listening to them? Because the cortisol is strong. It's fast. And the monkey's going to go to where it is getting the most attention. There's no reason, though, that monkey also can't go toward the solution state. Dopamine. That monkey can go over there, right? Bad monkey, good monkey. But he's in there. All right. Ever heard this one, right? Hope is not a strategy. Yeah. Everyone remember May 10th? That went a little hopeful. Maybe rates come down a little bit. What happened? All right. So hope is not a strategy. All right. Here's what I say. Bullshit. But let's reframe that. Hope is a result of strategy. All right. For me, fear is derived out of uncertainty. So when I'm in an uncertainty place, right, that can create fear in me. So I put strategy against that so I can create hope, right? So hope is a result of strategy, but that takes a conscious effort, but it's not a tactic, all right? It's not a tactic. All right, what else? Where are you trying to go? Do you have a desired future state? Are you in a gap? Again, small, not big. This doesn't have to be, well, I just don't want to die. This can be, look, I think I need to find new clients, or I might need to retune my business, or I might need to adopt mortgage coach and become an expert, or this other tech, or whatever the case is, marketing, video, whatever, social media, social. But is there a gap? No judgment, no judgment. All right. Just identify it. All it is do you have a current state and a desired future state? Okay. Now let's get to work. All right. Here's a question. Have any of you guys ever cracked eggs with ski gloves on? Anyone? No? I have. So a symptom of chemo is something called neuropathy, extreme cold sensitivity in your fingers and toes and nose, cheeks, that sort of thing. So early in my chemo, I reach in the fridge. It's a Sunday morning. I like to cook breakfast for my family on a Sunday morning. I reach in the fridge, grab some eggs, immediately drop them and break them. Okay. So I sat there. I said, huh. And that was a very, very real moment for me because by grabbing those eggs, it felt like frozen balls of needles. It was painful. I could not hold on to them. Immediately dropped them. My wife saw me standing there. She said, okay. So she walked in the garage, got my ski gloves, gave them to me and said, okay, well, now you can. All right. Put the ski gloves on, reach in the fridge, grab some eggs, crack them in a bowl. A little messy still, but I was able to cook my family Sunday morning breakfast now. I owned it. All right. So think of this: accept, adapt, and align. Accept the situation. All right. I can't reach in the fridge and just grab eggs. Okay. Whatever. Adapt. Adapt towards the solution. All right. I'm just going to put ski gloves on. Now I can reach the fridge and grab eggs. Now align your actions towards the solution. All right. Now I can cook breakfast for my family. Accept, adapt, align. All right. So you have a desired future state. You know where you want to go, right? Let's just say you want to be a mortgage coach expert, right? For example. All right. So start off with this, right? Because we want to thrive the gap. You don't know what you don't know. If you go into this that you already know all the answers, well, then why aren't you doing it? And that might be something different. Okay. Maybe you're stuck on something. But go into this and just try this. Give yourself permission that you don't know all the answers. But you have to give yourself permission that you don't know the answers, because if you go into this, that you do, your mind is full, and we want to be mindful, not full mind, mindful, right? So give yourself permission that you don't know all the answers. And now let's get to work. Now we want to start gathering information. Now we want to gather information. We want to learn. We want to pay attention. Where is this taking us? Because one door is likely going to lead you to another door that you're not even aware of yet. All right. So it's very important that you go through this process and just start gathering information. And then where are we going? Now, look, this is just how I do goal setting. I'm not really a big fan of just setting a goal, right? I like to think about it in the form of a roadmap. So where are you going? All right. I want to be a mortgage coach expert, right? Okay, cool. What's the roadmap? So we've identified where we're going. All right. First step in thriving the gap. Now, what lanes to get us there? Okay. Well, I don't know anything about mortgage coach. So there's a lane, and you might have one lane that's linear, 1 + 1 = 2. And you might have another lane that's more abstract, with a lot of curves in it. I don't know exactly where this lane's going to take me, but I'm going to start going down it. Great. Both are equally important. So what are the lanes that are going to get you there? Now, what are the mile markers along that lane? Now, this is very important because this is how you can measure it. So I want to be a mortgage coach expert. Okay, great. I want to have 10 TCAs by the end of this month. Cool. That's a mile marker. There's a do by and something measurable. All right. So it's important to set our mile markers. And then what are the first 3 steps? Easy. Just acknowledge what are the first 3 steps. You don't have to define the entire lane. You don't have to define everything. Just the first 3 steps, because that's going to create momentum. That's going to create additional steps, right? So if I want to have 10 TCAs by the end of this month, okay, well, I need to then get on the virtual webinars, get some training, go talk to a mortgage coach expert in my office, go to Dave's, YouTube page, whatever these different steps are. And here's the most important thing in all of this. Celebrate every step, celebrate every mile marker. When you make a step, high five someone. When you hit a mile marker, fuck yeah. And if you don't have someone to give that to you, text me, call me. I will give you a fuck yeah. It'll make my day. Absolutely. But you've got to celebrate your progress. Why? Because you want to be in a toward solution, toward reward state, right? Habits, cue, action, reward. That reward is now putting energy and electricity in that neural mapping, that neural connection, those 88 billion neurons. So now you go from I need to be a mortgage coach expert to I want to be a mortgage coach expert. I'm now developing a habit because I'm rewarding it. I call that positive emotion stacking. Keep stacking the little wins, every little win. Mark it, right? It'll help you. Dopamine, hoard that. So very important. All right. So real easy, right? These are just 5 simple steps to help you optimize that mind state. We talked about toward state, right? Toward reward, toward solution. We want the dopamine hits. We got to be purposeful towards that, right? Where are we trying to go? Are you in a gap, right? And, look, we don't have to make a big deal of it. I just want to go towards some future state, right? And then we got to own it, accept, adapt, and align. And then we start gathering information. We're open to that information. And now we have a roadmap to get us there. And if we do that, now we're creating hope, right? Now we have vision. I know where I want to go. I got a little clarity. I can breathe. We need oxygen in our minds, right? Oxygen feeds our brain, right? Now I'm open to new information. I'm open to receiving that and learning. And I have action in place. I have a roadmap with action to get me there. Now our mindset is tuned in. I'm reducing friction and we're increasing momentum, right? So it's easy and we want to keep it simple. All right. So that's it, guys. I just want to give you a quick little TED talk on how to optimize your mind state. I also want to dedicate this presentation to a good friend of mine, someone that used to work at Finance America. Today's her first day of chemo. So I dedicate this to her and I'm super proud of her. So, hey guys, break out your phone, break out your camera. The barcode here under contact information, if you take a picture of that, you can just download my contact information. Reach out. Let me know. I will give you a high five. I'll give you a hell yeah, whatever you want. I would love to be able to be connected to you guys. And also because we're part of the Momentum Builder community here, I'm also offering a free coaching huddle. If you have any interest, the barcode on the right here, you can jump on my calendar. If you like this presentation, I would obviously love to be able to give it to your teams or, realtors or business partners or whatever you want. I'm happy to help here. And I can certainly tailor this in a lot of different directions. There's a lot of depth, additional depth that we can go into this. So I want to keep it nice and easy for you guys. Not too much drinking from a fire hose. So there you go. Thanks for having me.
All right, buddy. Well, that was cool because it was super simple at the end. As you're going through the presentation, I'm like, and how do I do this? And then it was that last couple of slides where you're like, and look, it's not that hard. Mm-hmm. And you and I talk a lot about this, Craig. It's in an environment. So I think I was in this hope trap, May 10th, it's coming. Oh, next month is going to be better. And over the last few days, I've kind of honed my new focus. The way I'm going to start looking at it is I'm actually not going to plan on tomorrow being better. I'm actually going to plan on tomorrow being worse. Because if today is the greatest opportunity I have if I think tomorrow is going to be worse. So I must excel at today because it's the greatest opportunity I have. So try to focus day by day, like you said, toward state. If you do great things daily, where will you be in 3 months? But if
That's it.
you're always waiting for that moment to come, it may never get there. You can't
Yeah.
make progress that way. So that's kind of what I've been focusing on the last few days.
I love it. And the toward state, for me, that really helps simplify things too. And the other thing that I would advise everybody, look, we all get triggered, right, man? And especially right now, man, this is tough. Look, this is tough. And we don't all, look, it's okay to have a bad day, right? We just don't want to have every day be bad, right? And some of that's in our own perceptions, right? Because the trees are still there, right? It's our job to ascend over the trees as the crow flies. That's why it's important to, in the whole reducing friction. So what I would say is when you have a situation, think about, detach. I'm going to use a little Jocko, right? Detach and try reframing it, right? Reframe the situation and see if you can pull something positive out of it. See if you can pull something like, and I loved his opening. For those of you guys have seen it, he's got that video called Good, right? All right, you got your ass kicked today? Good, right? More time to learn, more time to train, that sort of thing, right? Now, look, that's Jocko. My point here is, look, I had cancer. That's about as bad as it could get for me. And I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to wear this like a coat of arms. I'm trying to, like, I learned from it. And Gino, you were right there with me, you and Don, and so many of you guys on this call. Like, I really tried to use that I try to think of it like an opportunity to learn from it, to survive it. It was like a marathon for me. Like, it became a challenge, like, this is my mountain to climb. And what can I pull from this, And so that's why it's important for me to share the story, because there's things to learn in all these situations, and it all sucks. This is not a comparison, dude. Losing a loan at Docs fucking sucks. It sucks. It's not better or worse.
I think all of us grow through pain more than we grow through success. Remember I used to say a lot, success is the enemy of success because it creates complacency. Yet when when you have challenges and things and goals and things you're trying to overcome, when you're trying to fight for something, that's when you feel great. When you're just sitting there and everything's coming in. I mean, yeah, it was fun. It was nice to make a lot of money, but the reality of the matter is that wasn't us at our best. I'm seeing some of our LOs right now. They're at their best. They're grinding, they're calling, they're going out doing garage sales and brokers opens, and they're everywhere. They're at every event. I'm like, yeah, you're working. You're not just answering the phone, you're creating opportunities. So I think that's one of the things, if we're going to look at this market, and not to get into the loan weeds too much, but the reality of the market is the opportunities aren't there. We have to create them.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things too, is call people in your database and have a conversation. There's probably listings or inventory, which is what we're all struggling. The best place to find that inventory is in our databases.
Yeah.
And if we can create some inventory ourselves, we'd be helping our realtor partners much better than going, do you have any leads? Do you have any buyer leads? We have 600,000 pre-approvals, but there's no houses to buy.
Yeah.
So I think we have to create opportunity. I think that's one of the things we'd like to focus on.
Yeah. And I think from a coaching perspective, I go underneath that and say, okay, why aren't we calling our database? What is holding us back? Is there some friction there? Are you stuck on something? And again, how do we create momentum to go towards that? Right. And how do we get some confidence to go towards that? Or maybe how do we change the script a little bit? Or do we have a script? Whatever the case is, nothing has to be a preset formula, right? We got to make it natural, and it's who we are, and vulnerability, vulnerability is really critical. It's okay to be vulnerable. Like I said, no judgment, man. And you guys know me enough. I'm self-deprecating enough I'll make a fool of myself. Sometimes I'm most of the time on accident, but I'm not afraid.
Talking about call reluctance, Jason there. I think call reluctance for me, and you kind of threw out Jocko earlier. Once you own the reason you're calling, it's easier. And I say that because a lot of times, let's say I did go look at my database. God, I haven't called that guy in 6 years. How am I supposed to call him today? Why today? Right? It seems totally not genuine if I'm going to call them to ask them if they want to buy something. And so I said, you can't call with that intent. You really have to call just to stay in touch with people. And so I like to start off my script with, is usually when I get a voicemail. Hey man, it's Gino Franti. You probably remember me from Skyline. It's been a long time since I reached out. That's on me. So I'm going through my database right now and thinking of the clients I really liked helping, and I thought of you. So give me a call back. That's it.
I love it. Yeah.
It's that simple.
And, I mean, look, when FAM went down, and for those of you know who me, like, I mean, I had this was a 20-year career to get to the chair I was in at FAM. And when FAM went down, I didn't lose a job. I lost a career. Right. And that was very, very difficult for me. But I look at that, again, a Jocko thing, good. Right. And my point there is it took me time to retune, recalibrate, because I had a lot of fear. Uncertainty was creating fear. Right. And that led me to this now, which is what I'm supposed to be doing and where my passion is and what I'm good at, And so whether it be call reluctance, right. And or something else, it doesn't matter small or big. It is very real and very in our face in that moment, and it can trigger us. That's why mind state is very important, because if we're conscious of it, we can consciously say, okay, I want to be toward reward, toward solution, right? We can pick that apart, but left unchecked, like I said, it can hurt. It can bury us. It can get us stuck. And that's okay too. But raise your hand and seek help from your village, right? We all have our village.
What were we talking about the other day? Unstuck it?
Yeah.
I think it was unstuck it.
Unstuck it, right? Because it probably I was wearing an untuck it shirt.
Because what happens is things get in the way of your vision, like you're saying with the treetops, right? You can't see anywhere beyond this problem.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does take an outside source. I mean, that's really, you just ask somebody and be like, hey, do you see this the same way? And they'll be like, no, I see it like this. And you'll be like, oh, I like that perception.
Well, I love what Tim just put in the chat. Actually, Tim, I forgot, man. And you did something really critical. Tim sent an email out to all the sales team when FAM was getting shut down. And he said, listen, look at this from a perspective of maybe this is happening for you, not to you. And Tim, that hit me also between the eyes, right? And especially and again, I'm being vulnerable. I'm in a leadership chair. It's my job to be able to provide this and be able to provide the strength and all these different things. I was hurting and I needed that. And that really helped.
Well, Tim, you're a hero. You want to jump on with us, buddy?
Tim is a hero.
Want to promote him, Sonia?
Tim always has something.
Yeah, I got it.
All right. Well, Timmy, we'll get him on here with us in a second, but Tim's always a light and always has great energy too. There he is. Look at him. He's trying to compete with me with the podcast earphones and all that.
Oh, he's got the studio. I don't see it on here, but I can picture it.
Yeah. You got to unmute yourself, bud.
And until he gets on, I would say for all of you guys on this phone, I challenge everybody here, be that provider of hope to somebody else. Be that person who helps someone get into a growth mindset. Be that leader, because leadership is not a title. Leadership is a behavior. And if you can weave in leadership into anything, I don't care if you're in sales, I don't care what, you are a leader. Weave those behaviors in and help somebody. It'll make you feel good. Oh, there we go.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. You got me?
Well, we could hear you, but we can't see you.
Well, let's see if we can fix that. It's Zoom
it is.
101. How's that?
Hey, buddy.
Bud.
And Craig just, yeah, there you go. I was just going to say, Craig got all blurry. Hey, listen, Craig, number one, and Gino as well. Thanks for the shout out regarding that last video that I did some months ago. But it's really important to understand. And actually, Craig, you're not good at this, so you won't take credit for this, but it was your leadership and guidance that really kept my mindset on the right path. And at the beginning of this call, you said something that I remember. It's like it just smacked me in the face. It's like, we're going to deal with this from short periods of time and say, okay, Tim, I have this new role and I think you'd be perfect for it. And what we need to focus on is, what is it going to look like in 3 months? What is it going to look like in 6 months and then a year? And it was very interesting that when you broke it down at that level, and then of course, COVID happened and all kinds of challenges came into place, but you just kept driving the point home. Look, focus on what this looks like in 3 months and in 6 months. And it just, gosh, it was great stuff, my friend.
I appreciate it. Yeah. 5 years from now doesn't work for me. You know,
We were
I know.
talking about, Craig, like, as long as you're taking steps, as long as you're taking steps, as long as you're taking steps. And then it was like, and then Craig said to me, he says, but every once in a while, make sure you're not on a treadmill.
right.
Because you ain't going anywhere.
Well, and there's it's so good. There's another analogy I'll throw in here too. And you guys have all heard like the drift, right? I don't know if I got this from Darren Hardy or wherever I heard it. I'm gonna give someone credit, right? Right. You have two planes that are taking off from San Francisco, both destined for New York. And if plane A is on route and plane B is 1 degree off, well, plane B is gonna end up in Miami. That's drift. And that is for real. And it's okay. No judgment, roadmap, all that stuff. But if you end up in Miami, okay, course correct. Just course correct. And now, because we want to be in momentum, now we're going to go this way, right? We want to go forward, not side to side. But my point here is
Sounds
also,
like my golf game.
that will probably, I did just play with you, so yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of side to side that.
Yeah. But have a little, you can bring a little humor, a little humility with it. Again, that's why, it's important talking with a friend. And again, everyone's different. For me, that works, right? We can make fun of ourselves a little bit, but I need help, right? And you two guys and so many other people on this call, you guys were there for me during these very hard times for me.
Well, but Craig, I mean, look, that brings up a really good point. None of us can do life alone.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do life alone. We have to have a tribe. We have to have our community. That's what this is all about. And together we can achieve things. And like you said,
especially mortgage life.
Yeah. I mean, none of us can do it by ourselves, but if we just reach out, sometimes you just reach out. So someone just reached out to me 2 days ago. And he said, man, I'm having a really hard time right now. He's like, is it just me? And I said, no, it's not just you. This is the third conversation I've had with people just like this week. It's getting to the point where people have fatigue.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's something that's real that gets in the way. Like, I've been working so hard, but I don't have the results to show for it. And so you have to reward yourself, like you said, for the activity, not for the result, which is a super hard thing to do because you don't know if you're doing all the right things.
It's mental shift, but that's spot on, man. It's all about the activity. The result is just a byproduct. Focus on the activity, right? And look, fatigue, we all have fatigue, right? And, one thing for me, when I get into fatigue, it's like when you're working out, right? And your muscles kind of, they're just doing the same exercise. I'm probably not the best person to talk about this, but, I'll go for a run. Anyway, the point is, sometimes you got to change it up. Change up the script. Try something new. Break it up. The other thing is, being in the mortgage business, again, I'm just going to say for me, right? Because I don't want to talk for anybody else, but this can also be a very manufacturing line oriented business, especially for those in operations. It's really important to try to find a creative outlet. That's what I love about all the social media and the marketing stuff, because it's really bringing marketing individually versus there's some stupid company flyer, which I hate that stuff, right? But now individual marketing, whatever that is, find a creative outlet. For me, it was photography for a long time. I just, photography was an outlet. Gino, I mean, I can see the two tanks behind you and coral and fish and yeah.
Right here. I mean, and you know what? And they're difficult things, right? People are like, why would you do that? Why would you get into something that's so difficult and challenging? And it's because that's what I enjoy. And it's the only thing that'll take my mind off completely work, because otherwise I'm going to screw this thing up. Right? This is a chemistry experiment. If I put my hand in there after I wash my hands and I have some soap in there, I might kill everything. So you got to be careful. You have to take precautions. You have to do all these things. And when I'm doing water changes and things like that, nothing else is happening in the world. So that's what's the nice thing I think about hobbies.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever works for you. What's up, Joe? Dude, Joe, I'm heading your way this afternoon. I'll be down in Calabasas.
Nice.
Sort of towards your way.
What's up, Joe? So, I mean, look, Joe's doing stuff he hasn't done in years. Joe's going to open houses. Joe was sitting at the bottom of Runyon Canyon, I think it was, with a little snack stand with a realtor. So people that were coming off the hill, they were giving them little bars and water bottles and stuff. It's like, just got to pull out all the stops right now. I don't know that any one thing is going to help anybody win all the deals, but I know that a lot of little things will help you win some deals. And that's what it's all it is right now.
Have you ever noticed that a lot of time, like sales innovation and that new awesome book that we all have to read, it's all just going right back down to the basics. It's all shit we know. but just different twists on it and different ways to motivate and activities, all this other stuff. But like, but we know. So,
Yeah, and look, the social media thing, I think we've, and we've talked about that for 2 hours, but just in the last few days, what I saw is that my epiphany was, for me, I thought I had to have this type of persona on Instagram, this type of persona on Facebook, this type of persona on LinkedIn, right? That's kind of what my mindset was around social media. And this week, it just came to me in that aha moment you were talking about in the beginning. And I was like, I should just be me on all of them.
you had a little insight.
Right?
I like that. Let's get a little electricity on that.
Yeah. So
Gino,
now
just
Anybody else
decide
with a little
that-
insights? Throw a
Yeah,
thumbs up in the chat if you had one.
That might be a different social media platform, Gino. Just saying, you might want just be careful.
Well, whatever pays
I will say this, and
whatever pays the bills, Timmy. Right now,
yeah.
I said pull out all the stops.
Yeah, I know. I was actually doing a conference a couple months ago, and when I took the stage, I had to let everyone know that I am actually a licensed minister now, and I actually married a real estate agent and a loan officer this last year.
Wow.
And everyone kind of chuckled. I'm like, look, man, I'm a loan originator. I got to do whatever I got to do.
Yeah. No. Hey, you know what? I'm getting my feet all cleaned up. That seems to be a thing now.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I will say this, Gino, and you mentioned the social media, and Craig, you say, really it comes down to do all the things that we already know we should be doing. The game's changed a little bit. I mean, that's the easy way to sum it up, right? The game's changed a little bit, and yes, there's all the social media platforms and video, and you guys might know that I'm pretty big on video, right? And so I'm starting to just use this mantra. Instead of saying, one day I'll do this, and one day I'll do that, and one day I'll get around to using Mortgage Coach, all I've done is flip the 2 words to day one. Instead of one day, it is
Look
now.
at you. Looks like I got another coach on the bench with me.
I love it. That thing, right?
That's great.
MindState.
It's so easy. How come no one's else? I've never heard that. That's awesome.
Let's talk about those things, because these are like little hacks, right? Little tiny hacks. Like when I learned from Brian Tracy, the one thing that's helped me with procrastination
That's right, Katrina.
is the eat the biggest frog, right? That's literally, I had to embrace that, because a natural state, I'm a procrastinator, natural state. So I have to be in adaptive state to make sure that I don't procrastinate. And I don't want procrastination, because procrastination creates stress. And then with that stress comes that I didn't do the best I could. And that's what makes you feel, regret that you didn't do the best you could. So I started with the Brian Tracy thing, and I actually will say it out loud to myself in the morning. I might be in front of a computer and be like, eat the biggest frog first. What is it? What's the one thing that if I got done today, I would feel like I accomplished something? Literally one thing, not 10, not 50. Now there's 50 things on the list or 100 things on the list, but I just want to get done the one that would make me feel like I had a great day. And that's kind of how I try to start every day. It's part of my morning routine, is to start that way.
And then when anyone on this call does that one thing and accomplishes it, immediately reach out to Craig to get a high five and a fuck yeah, because he'll give it to you.
Loud and proud. Yeah, Gino, and I love that, brother, because you're conscious. You're doing something on purpose, right? Mindset on purpose, success on purpose, right? Throw that comma on purpose towards your day, right? So, it does help, and it does matter. And it keeps it goes from the back of the brain to the front of the brain, right? And then, so
you got to combine it with action, though. I mean, it really
Yes,
comes down to
of course.
action. That's been another word we've been thinking about a lot, is just action. So at this event that I went to, and it's funny how these things happen, something life disrupting happened, and I never sent a bomb again. I don't know what happened. Like, I was sending bombs every day for a little while, and then all of a sudden there was a pattern interrupt. Maybe it was because I didn't have my logins, because I now was at a different company or whatever it was, and I stopped using it. Well, I just went to a breakout session, and I'm like, this is crazy that I'm not sending out bombs anymore. What happened?
Yeah.
And so now I got to get back on the wagon. But as far as that's course correct, that's come back to where I had a plan. That's the way I want to communicate. I want to communicate through through video. I'm not really a great writer, so why put it in an email that may or may not be perceived correctly by the other person when I send it, when I could send a video and be expressive, and they could see the expressions on my face, and they could tell what I'm really trying to say.
Love it. Love it. There's like no wrong answers, no right answers, right? You just do it, right? Err on the side of action.
No bad ideas.
No bad ideas, even though some are.
Yeah. they all sound good at first, and then sometimes they're not.
Yeah, it's amazing what's pulled out of a bad idea, though. You know, some good, some bad, but
yeah.
Gino, you were there.
Yeah. So, Timmy, what are you up to? How are you doing these days?
Well, you know what? It's interesting you should ask that, Gino, and I know a lot of the folks on the call, of course. Here's the reality. It definitely happened for me and not to me. There was a couple bumps in the road, but starting to attend your momentum builders several years ago. I think I've been to 3 or 4 out of the 5 years, and we throw in a couple virtual ones in there, right? Because of COVID. You introduced me to a gentleman by the name of Rene Rodriguez at Amplify, and I had signed up, paid for it, put it off. And last October, interesting timing on that, I tried to put it off again, and they said, no, we need you here. You've paid. We're counting on you for dinner, right? It changed everything for me, everything. I literally learned what I'm passionate about, and that is being in front of other sales professionals, referral partners, however you want to say it, from a coaching perspective, public speaking engagements, that type of thing. And that is the path that I focused on. And interestingly enough, my old team at Stanford Mortgage reached out and asked me to come on board as a consultant to help figure out the best direction for Stanford Mortgage, which was a DBA, a FAM, of course, they had gone to a different lender, and now they've taken yet a different direction again. But what's happened is it's now put me back in a lane that my job is that of sales manager. I don't want to get into your P&Ls. I don't want to understand what you're doing behind the scenes. This is my lane. And actually, Gino, I'll credit you and Don for getting me headed down that path originally through Momentum Builder.
Appreciate that. And that's really the purpose of Momentum Builder, is to change people's lives by making introductions and ideas. And and I was talking when we were at this last event, there was about 250 people still in the room, and then it went down to like 100 people still in the room, and there's still probably 2 speakers to come up and speak. And it's really hard for a speaker when there's a room set for 500 and there's only 100 people in the room. And so you try to bring everybody closer. You try to make sure that everybody's a little more intimate, and it helps the room. But we were in the back, and I was talking to Casey Cunningham, and I said, she goes, how many people are out there? I'm like, probably like 80 or 60. She goes, it's okay. I just need to change one life.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that was a really good piece. She's great. She was actually a really good speaker, and it's sad that so many people left and missed that. Really.
Yeah.
Well, guys, speaking of Momentum Builder, I'm sure I've got a couple of slides here that I'd like to show everybody, because we're super excited about our new location. We have made a commitment for 2024 to the Park MGM. And the reason for that was Caesars was big and sloppy and hard to get through, and it had no sense of community. So of all the places that we visited with the Park MGM, it's got a central bar. It's like a hub and spokes on a wheel. And then on the outside, it's all restaurants and bars. I mean, it's perfect for our type of event. There we go. Sasha there. So I've been hanging out with Sasha a lot. So we only have a couple more minutes, but the power of introduction, like you said, Timmy.
Yeah.
I think that's something.
Sasha.
There you go. Sporting the hat. The power of introduction is something that I think we could focus on. And I've been working on it the last few days. And with Sasha's help, the more people we all introduce to other people, the better things will happen for everybody. Right. I think that's the power of community. And so Renee's one of those people. Sasha's a great person to meet. So just try to introduce someone intentionally once a week. That's not something impossible to do.
Yeah.
Right,
hey, you know what, Craig and Gino, I've got to bounce for another Zoom call, interestingly enough. But I don't want to leave without saying this. Craig, thank you for your coaching and mentorship when you asked me to take that role some years ago. Now, I had no idea at that time that your mantra of simply call Tim, what that would lead to. But anyway, thank you, my friend, and keep up the great work. And I know I'm going to get you in the studio here before long because Katrina's going to make us do it.
Ham and Egg podcast. Let's get it.
Ham
Let's
and
get
Egg
it out there.
podcast. Let's get it going.
That's one of
I
those.
love you, brother.
That's one of those interesting ideas with that name that you guys chose.
Anyway, guys, thanks for bringing me on for a few minutes.
Later,
Talk to
Timmy. Good to see you, man.
See you guys.
Good to see you, brother.
So yeah, Craig, I mean, look, hopefully everybody walks away from today, think at least curious. That's something else that I've been focused on, like curious.
Yeah.
What are the treetops? What's standing in my way?
That's
What
it.
do I need to move aside? Can I get around it or do I go over it? How do we do it?
You don't even know all the answers. I mean, honestly, don't know the answers. Just know that there might be a tree. That's all. And then you can raise your hand and ask for help. And I'm totally here to help anybody in any capacity, anyway. You know.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Craig. Thank you all for joining us. Loved seeing some of our friends here in the attendee list. And next week, we've got Cindy Ertman. And then after that, we got Wild Bill. I think the date's wrong on that one, but we do have Wild Bill. And, you know, you did a good job and you honored him with a couple of F-bombs today, Craig.
Strategic. Strategic F-bombs.
All right.
Oh, what's up, Rochelle? Good to see you. Yeah.
All right. Well, Craig, thank you very much. Love you all. And please reach out to Craig. He'll give you a high five and he'll be there for you when you need him. I know he was always there for Don and I when we need him. And still today, he's coaching us. So appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Love you, brother. Thanks,
All right.
man.
Love you too. Take care.
Yep.